Ayodeji, a pleasure to have you share your time and expertise with us on Closing Bell West Africa. Shall we start first by having you run us through what impacted trading today?
Yes, interestingly, what we saw today was an extension of what also happened last week. But you should be aware that this is the month where we'll be expecting corporate actions. And based on expectation of most of the investors, a lot of investors are staying on the sideline, trying to, they are planning to see how the impact of COVID-19 pandemic how much of impact that would have on the earnings of most of the companies. If you look at the various sectors, we know the impact will vary accordingly. So most of the investors are just trying to also wait on the sideline. You'll see volumes have also declined, but most times when you see decline in some of the blue chips company, we also see some investors showing interest. The likes of GT Bank, Zenith Bank, once they decline, you see investors coming in. So in summary, what we saw today was some form of sell-off in some of the blue chips company, the likes of bourse cement. You know that the stock gained, if you check if you check the last 3 or 4 weeks, it's gained significantly, and investors are also trying to take profit. You also want to look at Nestle. Investors also, we saw some sell-off from some major investors today, and that's also dragged the NSE down. But by and large, we feel that because of the new structure of how the NSE activity now looks, with more domination from domestic investors, we don't expect to see persistent sell-off in the market, because for the domestic investors, most times they always have their limits, exit limits, compared to foreign investors that go out at any level. Once they are ready to exit, they exit the market, no matter the price.
Now, Ayo, I'm looking at some figures from your week-on-week report here, talking about how out of the four out of the 6 indicators that you measured across the continent, Nigeria's All Share Index was the lone laggard. Goes yet to say that Ghana's GSE Composite and, of course, Morocco, Casablanca's Marcy indices were the best performing markets. I'm curious to find out, were there unifying factors impacting activities across the Nigerian market, and specifically speaking, what factors dragged Nigeria's All Share Index back?
Yes, I think another major factor that we also need to take into consideration is the MSTI announcements that Nigeria may be classified as a standalone, which would have, it means that a lot of fund managers will need to rebalance their portfolio. This has not happened, but with that signal, if we don't see any improvement in FX liquidity, then we may be classified as a standalone, which means that a lot of fund managers would have to sell down on their portfolio, sell down on their shares. So we see that as also a reaction to that news that came out last week.
So we're seeing a laid-back start to the beginning of a trading week. What's your outlook for activities this week?
We feel that market will still continue to trade sideways. Once there are a lot of investors waiting on the sideline, you are aware that yields within the fixed income market is significantly low. So that's not generating a lot of interest from domestic investors, especially the retail investors. So when